And we let the Los Angeles, I always say it, the Las Vegas Raiders theme song, the Autumn Wind, take us into this week in League De Nutz. We got the Raiders, got Mark Bavaro. We've got quotes from Chicago Bulls, the greatest, Muhammad Ali, Ray Nitschke. Well, the all-time hard asses in the NFL, right? You think all-time, just badass, old school, rock'em sock'em, knock you upside down type of players. You get that Green Bay Packer. You got a little bit of everything, but here's what you've really got this week in League De Nutz. I showed it to you a moment ago. How about that? The Final Four. Welcome to the preview of Round 1. The recap of Round 1 and the preview of Round 2. It is League De Nutz. I am your host. I'm the commissioner, Matt Levine. There you have it. The Final Four. What else can you say? You've got the bottom seeds, respectfully, right? Take a look at it again. In Polkai and Fantastic Mr. Fox. With the 5th seed, Polkai, Fox gets in there, as we know, as the 6th seed in the wildest of ways about a week ago. And then you've got myself in the top right-hand corner as the top seed, and the Nuttstown Destroyers, 12-3 in the regular season. Along with AB's Painted Helmet, 10-5. They took the 2nd seed. So you've got the top 2 seeds, the bottom lowest seeds in the playoffs. But altogether you have the hottest teams. There is no doubt about that. As we take a look at the playoff bracket. If I can find it. It's in here somewhere. All right, we'll come back to the playoff bracket. You look at that. Just keep staring at it. Take a look at the scores from last week. And right now, you've got ABs. They're on a 7-game win streak. Okay? That's why you had the Flames in the other slide. Everyone is hot. Polk, 3-game win streak. Fox, 3-game win streak. Nuttstown Destroyers idle last week. Okay? But I'm riding in there with a 2-game win streak and lots of hope as the top seed. So you've got lots going on right now in League De Nutz. There is no doubt about that. As we get the playoffs going. Last week, there you have it with the 2 scores. We're going to talk all about them, get into it in just a moment, and give you an overview of last week's happenings, and then we'll give you a shakedown and a preview of what's going to go on. So let's take a look at the individual matchups, shall we? We'll start with Fantastic Mr. Fox pulling off the W. Now, Mr. Fox gets in there, right? And earns the 6th seed and really pulls off a stunning upset here. Smash you. Throughout the season, at one time, these guys had a 8-game win streak. They didn't lose for 2 months. But they finished the season riding out 2 back-to-back losses, then a 3-game losing streak with this one. The former 2-time champion. He's been in the playoffs every season but one since the inception of League De Nutz back in 2009. Falls short with his biggest weapons. And you see it on the right side there. Adams. Ouch. Only 3 points. Hopkins, a couple of slots below, 1 point. And I think Smash was probably taking his beer cans, the empties, throwing them at the TV and screaming, McSorley, you no good, bleepity bleep. Right? Excuse me. As I take a sip of the funny stuff. Just kidding. One day it will be the funny stuff. But Smash comes up short with his top receivers that he expected to come through in a close contest here. Goes into Monday night with Hopkins and an opportunity to put it away. He was down 10, down 9. Williams wound up getting 11 to give Fantastic Fox the win. No, I'm sorry. Smash was down 10 and Hopkins only gets 1. And that's what you get. Now, if Hopkins would have gone off and Williams would have gotten his 11, Smash would have gotten 30 from Hopkins, 31, right? Talking about a win. But not to be for Smash U. So disappointing finish for him. His quarterback did well, and Dak Prescott, 38. Cook, also a bit disappointing. You figure if Cook goes off, that's a difference as well. So, some question marks for Smash. Not really as much in the, well, it is in the starting lineup, but, who he didn't put in the starting lineup. And who he left on that bench. And you can see Smash, there he is, staring into the future. Maybe one day I'll get my 3rd title. Hey, I'll take 1. Right? He's got 2 of them, so. He's a GOAT. Nothing to be ashamed of, but, no champion ever takes a loss lightly, and now you have to wait till September. But I'm sure he'll have a great 2023 as he anticipates next season with bated breath. Anyway, there you see them circles, right? The 2 Carolina Panthers. Foreman, Hubbard, left on the bench. Especially Foreman. Would have been enough to prevail. Did Smash get cute? Sorry I said it that way, Smash. But Warren for the Pittsburgh Steelers, his beloved Steelers. I was watching that game thinking, why the hell did he start him? Only 3 points, so Warren let him down as much as Adams let him down. Right? Who would ever think that they'd be equal with 3 points? Not enough firepower for Smash at the end of the day. Plenty of firepower for Fantastic Mr. Fox. By the way, I was idle last week. I did score 155 points. Just saying. Anyway, that's what happened with Smash. Why he didn't get the job done, at least in my humble opinion. So how did Fantastic Mr. Fox get the job done? Well, behind his top player, no doubt about that, the guy he has relied on throughout this season, not C3PO, CD Lamb. Yeah, he's good. I'll tell you that much. Makes a lot of magic happen wearing that magical number 88 for the Dallas Cowboys. No doubt about that, right? There you see some highlights for CD. Ranked 7th in fantasy football. 20 points a game. He had 10 catches, 120 yards against Philadelphia. 2 touchdowns overall. As he put up with double teams, triple teams all night. He shows just how physical and talented he is. So a good win there for Fox. It's an upset win. 5 of the 8 offensive starters in double digits. Again, led by Lamb. Gives you everything he's got. And did a great job, and that's a great job of editing that video. DC for life. Let's give him a little bit of a prop. So, I had to pull out the Bavaro. That means I need all the juju I can muster from good things of the past. I've pulled out the Bavaro for a couple of big games over the years, including the 2 giant Super Bowl wins against the New England Patriots. And hey, it came true. So, I pulled it out for the draft selection show. Did it right? Got the 4th pick. Not complaining about McCaffrey, but this is special kind of juju. This is Bavaro when you need him at the clutchest moments, when I start looking up to the football gods, and then I channel it through 89. I saw an article this week, by the way. I should have pulled it up for you guys. It was about the toughest tight ends in NFL history. And it listed, I think, 20 of them. Bavaro was not included. There were great tight ends. Bavaro wasn't included. Mike Ditka wasn't even included. So I don't know what kind of cred I would give an article like that. Let's move on. Let's talk about CD. He got the job done, right? Let's talk about who got the job done for The other winner this weekend, and it was Polk High School. Polk, the 5 seed over the 4 seed in Delray. As you see the final there, 147-97. Delray finishes his first season ever in fantasy football and in League De Nutz. A true greenhorn rookie, no more. He's a sophomore and had a great year. Wins the division title in the Shoreham Drive East. 8-8, got in the playoffs at 8-7. He'll lick his wounds till next year. Polk High School gets the job done. 9-7 now. Talk about balance. Oh, balance, Danielson. 7 of 8 starters in double digits. And leading the way, a guy that I kind of wish was on my team, but I'll take Kelsey. I think the second most talented tight end in football, and that's a close 1A to 1 in Kelsey, is this guy right here, George Kittle. What a day for Kittle. 42 points last week, 6 receptions on 8 targets, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game against Washington for San Francisco. And he's able to Carlton dance his way to victory. 5th-ranked tight end right now, 14 points a game. And it's been an interesting year for Kittle. Some injuries knocked him, out of the lineup early on, and it's taken him a while to get revved up. But the last 2 weeks, he's revved up. He's firing on all cylinders just when Polk High School will need him. As I said, Polk, right? Riding a win streak now. 3 straight to get in the playoffs. 4 straight overall, I should say. I said 3 earlier, but 4 if you include the playoff win. So, how about that? 72 points in 2 weeks. Very Kelsey-esque. So good job there for Polk High School in getting much needed balance from everyone. Let's take a look at the box score. And you might want to say, how does Kittle get so good? Practice, right? I'm saying practice with the Jim Mora playoffs voice, but I'm trying to say Allen Iverson. Forget how he said it. I have to see the clip. But that's 49ers practice in Santa Clara, California. And there you see the full box score and how they got it done with the 7 of 8 guys to the right. There's Polk's guys from Fields on down to Kittle, and in between, nice effort from Elliott. Algier has been coming through of late. Chase, McLaurin, Watson. Watson, by the way, banged up this week. Kittle. And you see the job well done for Polk High School. For Delray, on the flip side of things, well, not enough points, obviously. But I would say Delray was hurt by Swifty Swift all season long. He relied on DeAndre Swift, and Delray learns a lesson the hard way, and it's not his fault. Sometimes just a first-round draft pick does not add up to what you think it's going to be, right? So, Swifty Swift, a disappointing season, 31 points in the opener. Never really did anything after that except for 20 points in week 13 against Jacksonville. But last week, the dud, only 3 points. 28th ranked running back in fantasy, 12 points a game. Not enough, especially when you needed him in a big-time moment. Would I say he's a bust? Yeah, he was. Delray got to the playoffs without him, I could say, more than he got Delray to the playoffs, but somewhat of a bust. I would have expected him to have been in the top dozen and somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 points a game. That's another touchdown a game. When I did a Google search on biggest bust in NFL history, top 2 names that came up, these 2. Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell, rightfully so. So tough loss there for Delray. Big time win there for Polk High School. They get the job done with that much needed balance and Kittle. Okay, so what does this all mean? Well, we've got a couple matchups this weekend on tap, right? As you got yours truly, I will be taking on Fox. I get the 6th seed as the 1 seed, and then you get the 2nd seed against the 5th seed, and that is the Sibling Brothers Bowl. How about that? A couple of bros, real brothers, going to face off. Blood brothers. Ones that grew up until teenagers. Competing. Fighting. Getting along at times, I guess, right? Brothers. And you got a Garda Brother Bowl. That's what? GBB? Yeah, how about that? The GBB Bowl. Doesn't quite flow or come off the tongue easily, but you get the idea. Siblings Brother Bowl. I like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what you get with those matchups. Again, you get the hottest teams, all of them riding win streaks into the playoffs, the bottom seeds, and the top seeds who stood idly last week in myself and AB's painted helmet, respectfully. So with that said, let's move on and tell you about what's going to go on this weekend. Before we do that, though, I was thinking about this. Here's what's going on in the NFL. So in a little while from now, we'll see if we get another Amazon stinker. Thursday night game. Tennessee and Dallas. And I'll mention a couple names that have some stake in tonight's game for our respective playoff teams. Stakes, plural. So you got Dallas and Tennessee. Then you've got back to the Sunday lineup. The college bowl games are going on now through New Year's, right? So the NFL goes and takes their 7th day of the week all to themselves, like the good old days, just 3 weeks ago. I really don't like the Saturday games, especially when there's more than a trio of them, right? So you get a full slate Saturday, and then you come back and you get the Buffalo at Cincinnati game, which could have some ramifications for our playoff teams as well. So that's the NFL schedule. Let's take a look now at the matchups in League De Nutz. We'll start with myself against fantastic Mr. Fox. Well, what can I say? Got a 6 versus 1. I know this from being an avid fan of all the NCAA March Madness tournaments I've watched over the years. The seedings don't matter. Really don't. Any given Sunday, real sports, fantasy, anyone could win. So, with that said, seeds aside, here's your matchup. And here's who you've got going as of right now. Of course, things could change, and they have. Pollard is out of the lineup, by the way, for fantastic Mr. Fox, because he's been rolled inactive for tonight's game for the Dallas Cowboys. So, not pictured or not listed there because I put this up a few hours ago, or not even right before, probably about 20 minutes before they made the decision, about 90 minutes ago. He will have Brian Robinson Jr. from the Washington Commanders, Redskins. That'll be going tonight, will be going this weekend in lieu of Pollard, who's going to go tonight. So that's the matchups. You see, from my side, no changes made just yet. I'll talk about potential changes in a minute. Now, Tua is also in there as quarterback right now for fantastic Mr. Fox. Tua, again, in the concussion protocol. It's going to be the story of this guy's career. I honestly don't see him not being a rocket scientist saying this, or much of a sports or football prognosticator, but I just don't see him having a very long career, because I think it's going to be one injury after another, and so on. So, no Tua, most likely. You get Teddy Bridgewater, who's not bad, but he's not Tua. Another guy who had a lot of injuries and lucky to be playing, right? Anyway, these two squads, they met up in week 7, did they? You like how I stopped that for a second? Yeah, it is week 7. I looked at my notes. And there you go. Look at Mahomes. That's one of the great plays I've ever seen in football. And there you get some highlights down below of Tom Brady, because I'm thinking Brady is going to be playing, well, at least it's the Bucs game last week. I think that's McSorley. How about that, right? The Bucs game against the Cardinals, some highlights, and Brady's in there somehow, some way. Or at least they'll be sliced in there. But those are the horrible game. That was a horrible game. It really was. Well, fake punts. Brady woke up at the end, but certainly not the same Tom Brady I'm used to seeing, or anyone is, with a couple picks. And you always need him at the end, and he comes through most times, more often than not. I think it's that coach. I know it's that coach. I never thought he was a good coach to begin with. Maybe at one time I think he was a good coach when he coached the Jets defense. But I think that's the deal with Brady. I'm not jiving with the coach. But anyway, you figure Brady, there he is. You figure Brady's going to get back in there, right? And in week 7, it was a 161-124 victory. You see it there. You see the highlights. Big difference, really, the quarterback, 37-11. Mahomes ousting Brady with 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception for Mahomes. Brady, 290 yards. So that was his 11. So we'll see if that's the case in these playoffs with these two. And we'll see if that's a big factor for fantastic Mr. Fox. He's going to need points to plug in for Pollard, right? Or hope that Brian Robinson, who I think is a really talented kid, amazing, got shot twice. Earlier in the season, he's playing football. How about that? I think he's very talented, and he can certainly make up for the points for Pollard. But Pollard's a special football player. It's good news, though, for Polk High School because he's got Zeke Elliott, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But here's the matchup, at least, what it looks like from these statistics. As you see, 2 highlights there. And that's Brady right now, 12th ranked quarterback, 19 a game. Number 1 ranked fantasy football quarterback. I'm going to come back to the camera and you're going to see me praying on my knees to the football gods. Well, not really, but I should because that's how good that kid is. Right? I always see this every week. Roster 99.9% of rosters. What's that 0.1/10? How's he not 100%? What league is that? Who the hell is the commissioner of that league? Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Best quarterback in football? I think so, and in fantasy football. We'll see if that is a difference maker this weekend. Fantastic Mr. Fox, I mentioned it. No Pollard, but he will have 2 other Dallas Cowboys in CD, who I highlighted a moment ago. We know just how great he is. And Schultz, the tight end. Schultz and CD. And rely on those 2 for some big-time points tonight to make up for Pollard, right? He's going to need at least 50 points between both of them. CD can do that on his own, but I would say that Fox, you need those 2 Dallas Cowboys as much as you've needed any 2 players this season. Meanwhile, I've got no one going tonight. Okay? I know who I need to come through this weekend. And by the way, another guy to watch out for Fox I didn't mention, as I just saw right here, this is him pictured when he was with the Cardinals, but Christian Kirk, right? Another big ball player for Fox. Some old highlights there. Look how fast he is. Track star with a football in his hands. Boom. All the way to the end zone in California. So he'll definitely rely on him tonight. Kirk averaging 16.5 a game. He's going to need to make up some points for Pollard. No doubt about that for the Fox. Now, as I was saying, for myself, I know what it comes down to. Here it is. These guys. McCaffrey to the right. My Chiefs 1-2 to the left on your screen. I think this was the game that Mahomes hooked up with Kelsey 4 times for touchdowns. Man, I love that. Those are my 2 guys right there. My 1-2. My steady Eddies. reason I drafted them was to get here right now. So all I can hope for is they keep the train rolling, and Kelsey and Mahomes do their thing, and McCaffrey keeps slapping high fives with his new teammates up there in San Francisco. Other things to consider for me? Well, there are a few. There's a couple guys that I'm going to show you. They consider